Hello, welcome to Your Vote, the St. Joseph News Press's election coverage for the upcoming municipal election. This week we began our Q&A series, and the first race up is municipal judge, and I'm joined with Ted Elo, Assistant City Attorney. Ted, thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me.
We'll jump right into it, of course. Your experience in law spans years here in St. Joseph. How does your experience practicing law translate to the job as municipal judge?
Very good question. I've done a multitude of things when I was in private practice. First, I did a great deal of municipal practice as a defense attorney, and know what a lot of people need, particularly youthful offenders. And then when I went to work for the city, about 18, 19 years ago, I got to see what the other side was like, and what police, animal control, property maintenance, building code inspectors, the things that they have to do that a lot of people don't realize are in municipal court. As an old attorney once told me, he referred to municipal court as police court. And evidently at one time, perhaps that's all it was. But it's much more than that. And I've got to know the statutes very well in reference to animal control, building conditions of buildings, property maintenance, weeds, trash, debris, and how those things impact our community, and how the individual inspectors that do those things, as well as the police enforcing their laws, they have an impact on the image of the city. It's my hope that by treating the people who come back more than once, more than twice, the recidivists, that they are treated differently. I spoke recently with the Buchanan County Sheriff, Sheriff Pewitt, and asked him that if I wanted to jail someone, if he would be able to do that, and he said yes. And that's one of the things that I would be looking at doing as a municipal judge. It's not done very often. I'm not going to say I'm going to start throwing everyone in jail, but I will look at cases, and if I think that a jail sentence is in order and everything else is in order, that would be a sentence that could be imposed. Or if they violate an order of the court, I would then also consider and or also impose a contempt citation on them, and as a result of that, they could be placed in jail. And that's something that I want to do, starting out with the youthful people, treating them, giving them that second chance. No one wants to mess up a young man or woman's life at the age of 17 to 21, which could disqualify them from some things significantly in the future. But yet, when you're known by the clerks in the court by your first name, something needs to change, and that's what I hope to work my hardest on.
What do you see as your role as municipal judge? What do you see as the role for limiting crime?
It's going to take time to do that. Right now, I don't think things are quite as bad here as they are nationally. We always lag behind in the Midwest, and I hope we never catch up with the West Coast and the East Coast. I hope we continue to lag and never pick up. I would like to try to get more people that come into the court with a revoked or suspended license reinstated. There is some legislation pending now in front of the legislation that could give the municipal courts back some of the powers that were lost as a result of courts that were not properly functioning. primarily in the eastern part of the state. So those are things that I've been keeping an eye on in hopes that some of those will become law, that will make a municipal judge's job easier by giving him back or her back some of that authority that was taken away.
How would you enhance that relationship? You brought it up a little bit. Enhance that relationship between the courts and law enforcement.
I think there is already a good relationship there. First thing I would do is meet with the police chief or patrol commander on the police department, the animal control manager, the property maintenance manager, to see what their expectations are out of the court. And if it's something that I can do, or if it's something I can do in a modified fashion, then I like to take their wants and needs and desires into consideration to try to reduce the frequency of offenses from various parts of the city.
Kind of playing off that, how would you limit repeat offenders?
With what I initially said, the potential of incarceration, which has never been used much in municipal court. Alternative sentencing more than just community service. Some classes that currently exist at the St. Joseph Safety Council work with them, as well as the possibility of developing some new classes for certain types of offenders to help educate those, and that's primarily for the first-time offender. The multiple offenders, I think you're looking at the potential for incarceration, stiffer fines, with the expectation that they will be paid in a timely manner.
What do you think the consequences in the municipal court right now are enough?
There's a lot of changes going on right now, and municipal court is in kind of a standstill. It just was converted over and placed in CaseNet, and I'm aware of some bugs, for lack of a better word, that are not. Things aren't going as smoothly as everybody wants them to go, as is often the case when something new is implemented. So I think there are some things that have been placed on hold temporarily until those bugs can get worked out by the various entities that are doing things. So hopefully by April, those bugs will be worked out or nearly worked out, and we can get back to running a good, efficient court like it was before. As I have told, I don't know you, but other people, Judge Bay has done an exemplary job in over 2 decades as a municipal judge, and brought the standing of the court back to where it needs to be.
You mentioned alternative forms of sentencing, community service. What are some other alternative forms?
Driving classes, stealing classes, trying to modify behavior, particularly of youthful people. Not all of those classes are offered here. They used to be. It may be such a thing that you partner with a jurisdiction in the South and maybe with another court in the area, Savannah and some other smaller courts, and reinstitute some of these classes that at one point in time were being provided here, and then offer them to courts here, Fairfax, Rockport, Tarkio, Maryville. And then the class might not be in St. Joseph. The defendants might have to drive to Savannah to attend a class. But it would be an effort that would be a group effort amongst Northwest Missouri municipal courts in order to make sure that you have the critical mass that it takes to support a class.
Obviously, in municipal court, fines can be a burden on low-income residents. Do you see it as your job to ensure fines don't lead to recurrent poverty?
fines can always be a burden, and that's why I've always indicated every case is going to be looked at individually. What is $100 to some people is a drop in the bucket, and what $100 is to another person is meals for a week for their family. And I want to be able to find that out by asking some questions to defendants to take into consideration what they're doing and their resources, so that a sentence can be equitable based upon one's station in life, one's ability to pay. I also, if you have that same person, though, that keeps coming into your court, it then becomes an issue of that person has come to the realization, even though they may not have a great deal of resources, that they're going to go into court, they're going to get fined $15 or $20, and they're just going to walk away. And if these people continue to reoffend, then you're going to have to look at, something stronger. You're going to have to look at jail if they don't, and you're going to have to look at these alternatives to try to modify behavior. And nobody likes to put anybody in jail by any stretch of the imagination. It's not anything that I would ever want to do. When I've gone into the jail, it's in the past been to A, see it after it was renovated, and B, to visit clients. And I always got to come back out. I've never been in there and had the door closed behind me. So that sound, for a person that's hearing it for the first time, knowing that they're going to be there for some number of days, can perhaps be part of what modifies their behavior. And while a harsh sentence, I think it needs to be considered a little bit more.
As municipal judge, how would you address the homeless problem?
There was a homeless court that was established and running pre-COVID. And as a result of COVID and some other things, it kind of fell apart, as did a lot of things with COVID. So I think that it would be worth getting back together with the PSAs, public service agencies, and to see about reinstituting a homeless court. Sometime I would like to say in the fall. I don't really intend on making any real big changes initially. I'm going to need some time to figure out what are the names of the people I'm working with, exactly how to be a judge and do things properly. It's not going to take a long time, but in my opinion, only a fool would go into a court and want to immediately make change. I want to see how things are running for several months before I institute change. It may not mean that I'm not considering, making changes, but I will be, not making any wholesale changes, come the 1st of May or the 1st of June. I want to see how the court functions, how it can be changed to make it better after I get to know it even better.
Do you believe St. Joseph's appearance can be addressed through municipal court?
Most definitely, by making people take care of their property better. And, some things are floating around in my mind right now. And I don't know whether or not they can all be done. I'll just give you one example. If you were a young man who hasn't been maintaining their own property, and you tell me you don't have a lot of money, and we have an 80-year-old woman who lives 6 or 7 blocks away who doesn't have the ability to maintain her property, to cut her grass, and to keep things looking nice. your sentence might be to cut that lady's grass for a month. And that way the city does not have to do it, and it doesn't cost anybody anything. And you're out there sweating and using your equipment and your gasoline to make this woman's yard look nice for 3 or 4 cuts of grass, depending upon the time of the year. Those are the things that I would like to do as a form of what I'm referring to alternative sentencing. You know, you're not taking care of your own yard. Not only are you going to take care of yours, you're going to take care of the neighbor ladies too, because she doesn't have any family in town.
Just kind of to end here, what is one thing you would change about the municipal court process right now?
I don't know if there's any, right now I'm not willing to say exactly what I will change, but there are a lot of things that I want to give serious consideration to, and I think there will be changes, the potential of incarceration, the unique sentencing like I just spoke of, person who's not maintaining their property, being ordered to maintain theirs and somebody else's. The reinstitution of a homeless court, if the public service agencies are willing to give it another shot, and other programs in conjunction with other communities in the Northwest Missouri area. Those are things that I look at as all possibilities. None of them may happen. They all might happen. 2 or 3 of them might happen. You just don't know until you become more familiar with the court.
Well, Ted, that's kind of all I had. Is there anything else you wanted to say?
No, I just would like to say I want to thank you and News Press Gazette companies and give me the opportunity for this interview. And I just, that's all I really have to say. I look forward to serving the people in this community should I be fortunate enough to be elected on the 5th of April, and there'll be a quick turnaround of only 2 weeks. So that's not that far away.